Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager 751S-DBA-N. This is a piece of sample gasketing. They say that this is an aluminum door bottom shoe with neoprene insert. So it's dark bronze anodized aluminum, and then it has a neoprene insert in it. So they're saying a door bottom shoe. Well, you look at this and you might be real tempted to say, well, that's perimeter gasketing. Yeah, I suppose you could use it for that. I don't see why you couldn't. Why you might. This is clearly called out to be a surface-mounted door sweep, is what it's called out to be. Before we get to the gasketing, now what would make that advantageous? Well, I like the fact that it's wide and that it's mounted to the face of the door, and that because of where the neoprene falls in relationship to the backside of the door, or backside of the unit where the door is, you've pushed your line of defense out well far away from the face of the door because the underside of the door is over here. So you've done a pretty good job at protecting yourself. You've moved your initial line of defense away from the underside of the door, certainly where you want to have it stopped by. So that would be why this might be quite advantageous. Now, as perimeter gasketing, I could see it being really useful in that scenario as well, because you can have, well, obviously surface area, so it's going to be super nice for surface area. A lot of contact between the face of the door and the neoprene. The other reason is you could have, and people have ordered, very thick or with greater than average projection, which this has, projection, gasketing, because their door is warped. And when they close the door, it seals super tight at the bottom, kind of okay in the middle, and not at all at the top. Okay, so what they can kind of do is not only mount this in a situation where it will somewhat run parallel to the face of the door, but if you have a bowed door, it's not going to work so well. So you can overly compress perhaps at the top and bottom, but then the natural projection will make contact with the center of the door. So that could be where you would use this. So the 751S is representative of this. The the DBA means dark bronze anodized aluminum. This is not black. It looks awfully dark, but it's not black. You really can't tell here, but under the right light, it's got a very slight brown tone to it. Then it's N for neoprene. Now this, they don't tell us if it's closed or open cell neoprene, and it doesn't smell like car tire, which is a telltale sign of closed cell neoprene. But I'm going to say this doesn't feel like sponge or open cell neoprene, so I'm going to go with this being a closed cell neoprene, which means it'll be tremendous at preventing water intrusion, is what you're going to use this for. Okay, let's take some basic dimensional properties. Overall height of the aluminum and the neoprene, about 1.5 inches. The overall projection to the aluminum be about 11/16. To the center line of the seal, looks like it's about 5/16. The projection only of the neoprene looks like it's about 5/16 as well. That material can be slid out. Technically, it can be ordered and replaced. We do get that type of question with certain frequency. If this wasn't just a 6-inch sample piece, you would have a full length, and this is what the screws would look like. What I'm trying to say is if this was the genuine article, it'd be a 3-foot piece or whatever it would be. Now, this will come prepped for screw holes, which is what made me think of the screws, I guess. This will come in standard locations from the end and the typical center to center. The general rule of thumb is if you have a 3-foot length, you'll probably have 5 screws. It's one more than the quantity of feet, generally. And the other thing, I want to back up, the other reason that I like this material as perimeter gasketing is because it's so large. You could easily put this onto a compound miter box saw, okay, and give yourself nice at the header and the jambs, nice mitered corners. Because if you run something really big like this, and then you're going to butt the other end to the edge here, you're going to have a small amount of space that's not sealed. When you miter this, you're going to get a really nice tight seal along the way. You'll obviously want to order your pieces a little bit longer, probably 2 inch longer, I would say, so that you can cut that cleanly, whether you're going to compound it or if you're going to miter it. I'd probably miter it myself, is what I would do. I would certainly remove the aluminum, and I would cut that, and then I would trim my neoprene to suit. That might be a bit of a drag, but if you're in a situation where, whether you are in a northern climate and it's cold, or you're here in a very southern climate, and you can put your hand on the outside of the door in the summer, and you can just feel the AC leaking out of the door, just leaking out. You're going to want to cover every square fraction of an inch, is the bottom line. Typical material from Hager, they're going to offer this in different finishes: mill aluminum, in addition to dark bronze, and probably gold. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, here is the item that we are looking at. 751S-DBA-N for neoprene. Extended description information down below obviously gives you a dimensional reference of the item. They call it a door bottom shoe with neoprene insert. Neoprene versus silicone versus vinyl, that's a conversation that I've had many times. The short version is, if they even make this in vinyl, I doubt they do. Vinyl is only when cost is the most important thing. It will fatigue with exposure to ultraviolet. Avoid it unless it's just no matter. Silicone is really great in very high temperatures. Neoprene is also really great as a generic good all around. It's going to be it's going to be more stiff or rigid than silicone. Silicone compresses a little bit easier. I might be tempted to use silicone in a lot of applications because it can handle extreme temperatures, stays flexible in those extreme temperatures, very water repellent, obviously. But neoprene is going to be good all around, and it is very much known for keeping water out. I mean, your diving suits are made out of neoprene. There are other inserts. They don't come into play in this conversation. Seals against weather. They can be ordered cut to length. If you have need for a custom length, by all means, let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to cut the material back to. And the reasoning is you might have need for a custom length, and you don't want to cut it yourself. You don't want to have to re-drill that slotted hole, and naturally slotted holes for the gasketing are awfully hard to drill. And that slotted hole, let's take a look. That slotted hole, here are some images. That slotted hole gives you that ability to really tailor the projection of this once you've got it installed. End view, cross section. You can kind of see here, a lot of people are going to argue that's black. It's not. It's very close. Another view, and then your screw package. That's going to be included with that. Lengths are 1/2 inch over the stated size to allow for fitting. Okay, maybe. That's all over the place. When you order this weather stripping, you've got to plan on having to cut it, even if you order a custom length, because they're not in the back getting, down to the 32nd of an inch. You've got to plan on trimming it. That's the bottom line. 1 out of 100,000 people will complain about that. It's just the nature of the weather stripping business. Let's look at these these links. Product info. This is going to be an overview and summary from Hager about thresholds and weather stripping. It also gives you a table in terms of what kind of fire rating you'll see on doors, which applies to gasketing because gasketing is both fire and smoke rated. This is an extreme deep dive into that world, and if you deal in construction or in construction documents and you see things specified, you'll want to have a basic understanding of this passage, even though this is more than 10 years old at this point. But still helpful nonetheless. Then we've got product catalog. This is going to show you our 751 along with sister products that go along with it. They can do mill aluminum, dark bronze anodized, and gold. They do vinyl, they do neoprene, they do silicone, and they do W. W is going to be the brush. The pile. Pile is awfully nice. You might, the advantage of pile is it's known that insects don't like to land on pile, so it does deter them to that extent. This will tell you that these are category H and J seals, which you'll pull out of the product info to see what it is being compliant with. Other items are here as well. This is in the door bottom catalog, not in the perimeter gasketing catalog, but it very likely shows up in that section as well. Other items are here for your review. And we're going to have the installation instructions. This is nothing more than, measure twice and cut once, is what this is. You'll want to, if you're going to install this material for the first time, by all means, read that document. And then the template, that's probably just a technical drawing. It is. So we're going to be over here. Now, there is a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation as seen here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the most current product catalog. Speaking of product catalogs, I have one from 1915 here, and I know that I've got another one. I think it's from 1904. It's just not scanned and uploaded yet. But if you wanted to see what Hager and Sons was making well over 100 years ago, here's the document. Hager and Sons Hinge Manufacturing Company, St. Louis, Missouri, 1915. They are still headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. I know that they have a large, what they would term a state-of-the-art facility, I believe in Alabama or Mississippi, distribution point. We make all finishes and have listed on the next page only those most popular. We can match any finish desired. All of our electroplated goods are very heavily plated, and we only use the very best material in this department as well as other departments. If finishes on steel are to withstand the severe attacks of corrosion or rust, we can recommend galvanizing or shearidizing before plating. That is a term I'm not familiar with. Shearidizing. This is indicated by adding the symbol Z. Let's look at the next page. This predates the US system, US 26D, US 3, and you will not find a reference to it here, that's for sure, in their table. This is the next page. What's interesting about finishes is if you were buying hardware in 1915 and you loved Hager hinges, but you did not like anything else they made, and you were buying that material from, say, Corbin, or say Yale, or from Russell and Irwin, or from Sargent, this table allowed you to order the olive bronze. Now, what in the world color is olive bronze? I mean, I know what olive... Are you talking greenish? I imagine you are. What's dull natural silver? Mottled? I mean, I can look that word up. I have an idea of what it means. But silver oxidized mottled? Dead black Japan? Shearidized? I've never heard of that word. The point is, this predates that system by about 15 years, so if you were ordering hinges from Hager and locks from Sargent, this was the table that you would use to make sure that you were ordering the right finish. Because you get outside of factories, or even factories or manufacturers who have facilities in different areas of the country, and most certainly in terms of elevation, you'll get different finishes. The U.S. system was a proposal by the government, and leading manufacturers participated in the development of the U.S. system. That meant for dull bronze, we're all going to call that US 10. We'd call it probably satin bronze. So rather than call it AD by Hager and BY 22 by Yale in town, and DB by P&F Corbin, or OP, what's interesting is Sargent still uses two-letter designations, and what's really neat is EB is still a code. I just ordered a client a couple of EB arms, a military base on Hawaii. They ordered a couple of EB arms. That's just dark bronze. Painted dark bronze is what it is. That's neat. Over 100 years old, and they're still using the same terminology. I would imagine that's probably changed. So, early 1930s is the first instance I can find of the U.S. system, and probably about 1933 I saw it in a catalog. Anyway, that's what that is. So these old catalogs are a lot of fun because, it's history. It's American hardware manufacturing history, and we have lots of these catalogs. Obviously, by the biggest names, the ones that I've just mentioned, Sargent, Corbin, Russwin, Schlage, many, many others. Okay. You see a hinge that looks like this with these weird bearings like that are greater diameter than the barrel. Yeah, you're dealing with an old hinge. Anyway, back to the manufacturer's page, which was here. Other encyclopedic documents that we possess for Hager will be kept here as well. For instance, the Hager King Service Manual. That's probably a link to the video, I would guess. Maybe it's not. Yeah, that's the PDF of their. Hager has their own platform of keyways and science behind how to accommodate that material. Product finishes guide. Hager has a nice one. A lot of people say, "What does brass look like?" Hager's catalog is nice because it shows you brass, but it shows you on steel and brass-based material. Now that's interesting. You see US3. A lot of us know that that means bright brass, but the US system fell short because the US system did not define the base material. Well, the US system still doesn't, but the BHMA system does. So US3, when it's on steel, is now 632, and US3, when on brass, is now 605. I don't know the history of that system. It's probably from the 1960s would be my guess. One day I hope to learn more about that. But this catalog is nice because it will appease a lot of people, that you can show them what the finishes look like. And in my determination, these color swatches are very accurate. So the Hager finish guide is nice for that reason. Now, actually, and I am not promoting Bomber at all in this video. Bomber, probably by the time you're seeing this, will be a company that no longer exists. They did announce in late 2021 that they're ceasing operations, but we're talking about finishes, and that's why I bring up Bomber. So in my website, click on manufacturers, and when that page loads, you'll be able to do a find function on your keyboard and get to Bomber, and that page will load up. And when that does, you'll get here. What I did was, over the period of over a year, once a week, I ordered a hinge from Bomber. Every hinge I ordered was in a different finish. I could have done that with Hager or anyone else, but I've been to Bomber's facility. I've been to their plating department. This is a company very proud of their finishes. So if you are not sure what a finish looks like, here's the minute mark, and here's the finish. So we want to look and see what US 32 looks like, which is polished stainless. Let's go to 946. Let's take that. Let's drag it to 946. There we go. That's polished stainless. That is a 360 turn on a camera. That means 629 means solid stainless and plated and polished finish. So if you have someone that's really not sure what it looks like, I'm going to argue that this is the conclusive document. This is the conclusive resource. We're looking at satin bronze plated dark oxidized, probably oil rubbed, yeah, oil rub bronze. Antique bronze, maybe? Satin bronze plated blackened? Yeah, antique bronze. That's a nice finish. What's nice is US 11, which I don't have here. Do I not have that here? Maybe it's 610. Polished bronze is what I'm thinking of. That's 609. Yeah, I don't see polished bronze here. That's a shame. Anyway, this video is going to spread this video around, let people see it. This is what the finishes look like. This is an actual hinge that we have videoed. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Hager is a company that's been in business for about 170 years, mid 19th century to be sure, certainly before the Civil War. And Hager is a company that is, and has been for decades, known to provide everything for the door opening with the exception of the door and frame itself. You can buy the hinges, the closers, the lock sets, the panics, the electrified hardware, the trim and auxiliary, the weather stripping, the continuous geared hinges, sliding door hardware, accessories, signage, things of that nature, automatic door hardware as well, automatic operators. So that makes it nice and neat and convenient for you if you're ordering the material. One manufacturer, one PO, the whole 9 yards. So that's convenient, and a lot of people are quite loyal to Hager for that reason. I like Hager a lot for many reasons, and the one that I'll name here is that there are people that work at Hager that are extremely active in our industry in terms of education, meaning providing it. They are volunteers that work through the national organization DHI, and the industry is extremely lucky to have their participation where they're not being paid. They're just doing it to give back to the community, to their community, their door hardware community. So to them, for that, I say thank you for allowing them to do that. Any questions on the 751S and a DBA and an N for Neoprene or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.